Hey, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Um, how are y'all getting up for this Alabama game after it sort of was rescheduled and pushed back and all of a sudden scheduled again, and then obviously with Harris leaving this week, um, is it sort of a different kind of scenario in terms of how you guys have to get ready for Alabama in terms of the emotions of the team?
In terms of the emotions, I wouldn't say it's too different. We had a bit of a jump. We already spent like a week and a half earlier in the season preparing for them, thinking that we were going to be playing them before the game got canceled. So we got a little bit of the install already in from earlier in the year. But emotionally, we're playing the number one team in the country. It's a huge game. Uh, they're coming here, and we're going to have to really have a great week. So.
Hey Liam, so obviously you guys are, the whole offense really is coming off a pretty disappointing game this last weekend. I guess for you guys as an offensive line, just going back and watching the film, what were some of the things that you guys noticed that just you guys weren't doing correctly, and just kind of how do you, focus that in on this week and trying to get a little bit better?
Yeah, we struggled to get the run game going, which I talked about last week. I said that was going to be important for us to stay out of kind of their third and long situations because I knew that they have a good defensive coordinator and good schemes, and in our pass protection, we the way that we were designed our protections, we had seen a few of their tendencies, and they ended up breaking them, which is why you saw some guys getting run free, especially earlier in the game. But by the time we made the adjustments, it was a little bit too little, too late. So.
You talked. What was it that A&M was doing there that broke tendency?
Just in that look where they had six guys on the line of scrimmage, they typically had shown that they always were bringing the pressure from one side. So we were trying to slide our protection that way, and they figured it out and they started coming the other way, and ultimately that's kind of what happened. So.
Is that why? Did y'all ever adjust to like a 5-0 concept, like man protection, to try to counteract that?
Yeah, well, that's what we would typically do, but they would be having six guys on the line of scrimmage, so without the running back in protection, we'd be outnumbered in a way, which is ultimately what we ended up having to kind of adjust to later in the game. Was kind of keeping the running back in and kind of accounting for all six, but yeah.
Thank
Yeah, and to kind of go off that, I mean, I'm just curious. I mean, because we're not in there, when things aren't going well early and whatnot, and you kind of, like you said, they're showing things you weren't expecting. Like, what is that like between you guys on the line and Coach Craig? Like, what are those conversations, I guess, throughout a game like that?
We're really what I try to do is get with Coach Craig immediately on the sideline and kind of communicate with him what I'm seeing up front and what they're doing, and try to come up with a plan of what we need to do to adjust to kind of pick up with what their game plan is this week. And it got frustrating, definitely. We really weren't ever able to get into a rhythm kind of throughout the whole game. So.
Hey, y'all are obviously moving now from one elite defensive line to another. I mean, are there any differences that you've noticed in the way that Texas A&M and Alabama kind of attack on the front lines of defense, and just kind of what are some of the differences there?
Yeah, just they're both great units. It's going to be another big challenge for us. They definitely play a little bit differently. Texas A&M, at least based on the film that I've been watching so far, they seem like they moved a little bit more, whereas Alabama kind of they like to play some more base defenses and to play straight up. But I still got a lot of prep to do to get ready for this week. So.
you. Liam, obviously, y'all lose Terrace this week. He decides to opt out. What was it? Do y'all think about that decision happening as teammates? Just like what was y'all's reaction to it, and was it difficult at all to sort of reconcile that with his speech a few weeks ago about kind of togetherness? Is it just going to be tough to play the season with the rest of you without him?
Obviously it's sad to see Terrace go. He's a heck of a player and really a great leader and guy in the locker room. But at the end of the day, there's no animosity towards him from me or from anyone on the team, really. This was the best decision for him and his future, and we all support him wholeheartedly. And just going forward, now it's just got to be next man up. We've already been in that situation in some other positions throughout the year, so I know that we got some guys in the wide receiver room that are looking forward to kind of taking their new opportunity and seeing what they can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this year is just unprecedented in tons of ways, and I know you guys are kind of getting used to the departures, but just what is it like just going through a year where like week to week your team just changes like in what it is?
Yeah, I mean it's different. Just the whole year 2020, you got to be able to adapt. That's really been the biggest thing throughout everything going on throughout the summer through now. And this is just no different. Just being able to adjust as things kind of get thrown your way. So.
Hey Liam, I know it's still super early since obviously Terrace has left, but have you started to notice any guys in that receiver room or the tight end room that have really kind of taken hold of that number one spot, and really some guys that you think are going to try to really explode here in these last 3 games? Who are a few names that kind of come to mind for you?
Yeah, it's still early to see who kind of definitely took up this number one role, but with Racy still out, there's a lot of opportunities with John Trey, Jure, Kayshawn, and Coy. They're all really good players. And I'm honestly excited to see what they'll be able to do stepping into a role like Terrace has been in for us throughout this season. So.